Hello everyone, my name is Steven Dutzman. I am the founder of EngageFamilyGaming.com, and I am here with another unpacking video. This time we're going to do another pack of Magic the Gathering, Strixhaven School of Mages. Here we go. Is this pack going to be a pain in the butt? Or is it going to... No, this is going to be a pain in the butt. Here we go. All right, Campus Guide, 2 mana for an artifact creature. It's a golem. When Campus Guide enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top for a 2/1. Listen, if this were a spell that did that, it would be awful. At the very least, it's kind of like a bonus when you're getting a 2/1 body, which is fine. I think this will be cool for, making sure you have off colors. If you're playing 3 colors in Limited or something like that. But, this guy's not going to do the work in Standard. But in Limited, you're going to need all the dudes you can get. The problem is he kind of slows your tempo, but he does help you make sure you're guaranteed to make your land drop. So I guess, smarter people will figure out whether or not he's A+ or not. But I think he's a reasonable dude for Limited. Witherbloom Pledge Mage. It's a 3 and 2 black and green hybrid mana. It's a Treefolk Warlock. It's a 5/5. It's got Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you gain 1 life. And it is a Treefolk Warlock. Didn't know Treefolks could be Warlocks. Here we go. Next is Blood Researcher. It's 1, a black and a green. Man, I want these 2 in my sealed pools together. So it's 1, a black and a green for a 2/2 menace. And whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on the Blood Researcher. So you put these 2 guys out in Limited, right? You get this guy. Every time you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you gain a life, which means you do whatever the instant or sorcery spell was, plus you gain the life. And then you pump this guy who has menace. So he can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, which means if your opponent has a relatively thin board, maybe because you're casting black removal spells on them, this guy just keeps swinging in. This would be great for a sealed pool. Speaking of adding to that, so it's a Arrogant Poet. It's 1 and a black for a human warlock. It's a 2/1. Whenever Arrogant Poet attacks, you may pay 2 life. If you do, it gains flying until end of turn. Listen, sometimes that'll help. At the very least, it's a 2/1 for 2, which in Limited is okay. If you have a reason to want to pay life, maybe there's some kind of weird combo interactions, maybe it'll do work in Standard. Otherwise, this is a 2/1 for 2 in Limited that maybe you can do some stuff. I wouldn't want to pay 2 life just to trade with a guy, but maybe if he gets Spirit Link, or Life Link rather. Next is Sunrise Spirit, 1 and a white for a 1/2 flyer. You can pay 4, exile a card from your graveyard. Target creature gains flying until the end of turn. Listen, a 1/2 flyer for 2 is not bad, and this extra ability will likely pay off at some point. So I dig that. And he's angry for a Spirit Bird. Frost Tricksters, 2 and a blue for a 2/2 flyer. Already pretty good for Limited. And then he locks down one of your opponent's cards. So whenever Frost Trickster enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. It's pretty cool. So this guy will definitely put in work. In Limited, he's going to do crazy stuff. I will gladly pay 3 for a 2/2 flyer and lock down one of your best dudes for 2 turns. Yeah, that's great. First day of class, 1 and a red for an instant. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains haste until the end of turn, and then you learn. Listen, someone way smarter than me is going to evaluate this card. This looks cool. I love the flavor of it, right? It's the first day of class. Kids are all excited. They're hopping in there. This is before they get discouraged by a bad homework assignment. But the idea is you learn. So you can go get a critter, bring it into your hand, and then cast it, and then it gets haste. So that's cool. In essence, 1 and a red for a pretty cool ability to be able to make whatever you cast afterwards have haste and get a little bigger, and then you draw a card. So that's not bad. It'll be interesting to see what people do with it. Charge through. 1 green for an instant. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. Draw a card. Listen, it's about as simple as it gets. It is a rancor. It is not. However, that has not been legal for a while. And they're playing whatever the version of Quidditch is in that world. Playing with a mask, I guess. It's kind of interesting. So that is Charge Through. Hunt for Specimens, 1 and a black. You get a Pest, which is a 1/1 token that when you sack it, or when it dies rather, you gain a life. and then you learn. So 1 and a black for one of those pests, and then you learn. Not great, but chances are good you're going to have a reason to have these pests. You know, it's a chump blocker that you gain life, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's neat. Elemental Summoning, 3 and 2 blue-red hybrid mana. Get a 4/4 elemental token. There you go. But this is a lesson. So remember, you can draw this off of other stuff. This is maybe off the first day of class. This is way expensive, though, but it'll work. Turn 7, I guess. Get this guy as a 5/5 haste. Not bad. Detention Vortex, 1. For an aura, you enchant non-land permanent. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Then 3, destroy Detention Vortex. Only your opponents may activate this ability, and only as a sorcery. This card sucks. I guess I'm spending one white to force my opponent to pay 3, but they're just gonna pay 3 and make this a dead card. And they don't have to pay 3 and a card, right? They just have to pay 3. You know, and I would prefer to just play something and have them have to pay mana and a card to make this go away. So this sucks. This is a trap. Never play this card. Yeah, this is a hot mess. Yeah, I do not like this. I mean, the art's cool, I guess, but yeah, it sucks. Brackish Trudge, 2 and a black. For a 4/2, it enters the battlefield tapped. It's a fungus beast, by the way, which is kind of cool. And 1 and a black, return Brackish Trudge from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only if you gained life this turn. Now listen, this is a 4/2 for 3 that comes into the play tapped. So you don't get to use it in the first turn or block with it or anything like that. But anytime you gain life and this thing's in your graveyard, you can just pay 1 and a black and just return it to your hand. That's pretty okay. This guy's going to put in some work and definitely kill some people in some formats. Another uncommon, Witherbloom Apprentice, black and a green for a 2/2. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, your opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Again, going back to the beginning of the pack, I want this in my sealed pool. We got, listen, this little hot mess right here, right? So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. So that buffs this guy. And you also, off of this card, you gain a life. I want these guys. And how about this? 2-drop, 3-drop. I mean, admittedly 5-drop, but those are pretty good. If those things live, your opponent is dead. Period, the end. So I think that's pretty cool. Next is Semester's End. So we got the first day of class, and now Semester's End. 3 and a white. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker. So basically send everybody away on holiday break. And basically, if you think your opponent can't kill you, like, for example, if they're locked down, they don't have anything to play, you play this, you suck all your guys back into your hand, you give them a turn, you kind of time walk your opponents. I don't know how smart that is, but then you play them all back and they're all bigger because they all graduated to the next year. Someone smart is going to make this work. That person is not me. Or maybe they won't, I don't know, but here we go. Next, Claim the Firstborn. It's the art card. So it's 1 red. Gain control target creature with mana cost, with mana value 3 or less until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste. There you go. So it is, you're stealing cheap creatures and giving them haste and doing all that. So that's pretty cool. I love the art though. These are all awesome art cards. And then here we go. It's a spirit. So there we go. That's another EFG Unpacking video. Everybody, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in a couple days. Bye now.